Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Noodles. We are on the Type 88 show, where we talk to people about how they turn their dreams into reality. And today we have two friends, two business partners, two women that are trailblazing their dreams and making their goals a reality. Not only do they have an amazing new business, but they are also mothers, and they find time to make everything work and make their dreams a reality and also be there for the people in their lives. So I just want to welcome Heather and Katie to the Type 88 show. Hey, ladies.
Hey,
Hey.
thanks for having us.
Of
Yes,
course.
thank you.
So, welcome to the show. So, for anyone who doesn't know, maybe you could just tell us both where you're from.
All right, I'll
You
kick it
start.
off. So my name is Heather Kim. I'm from Staten Island. That's how Dave and I know each other. We grew up together in Westerly. My dad owned the IHOP and karate schools in Staten Island. And yeah, that's it. And then, after many years, I moved to Brooklyn, the Bronx, and that's where I met Katie.
And hey, I'm Katie, and I am from Riverdale, where we live now. And I currently live in the house that I grew up in. And I moved back to Riverdale after moving all over the place after many years. And I met Heather up in our current, like the place where we were living right before we were living here in Skyview, up the hill is what we say here. And that's how Heather and I know each other. Well,
That's
it's a
it.
longer story than that.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
a
Yeah.
longer story and a lot more booze was involved, but
Yes. A
that's a
lot of
good start.
That it's just a blessing when when you have a dream to just have someone believe in you is amazing, but then to also have someone who's there side by side with you as you're pursuing the dream is just even more awesome. You both kind of weigh each other out, the yin, the yang. So, for anyone who doesn't know, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your new dream that you've just recently made possible and you made happen. Um,
You want me to go?
Yeah, I'll let you take that.
Okay. So I'll start like 3 years ago. I had a babysitter named Bernie, and I was just randomly talking to her, probably while drinking, about opening a coffee shop. And she was just like, oh, you got to meet Heather. She was also babysitting Heather's children at the time. Oh, she's always talking about opening a coffee shop. And, you guys would be such an awesome team. And I'm like, well, I don't know Heather. And that would be kind of weird, just
yeah,
Mad
jumping into
weird.
something
By
like
the way, by the way, guys, that accent that she's doing, it's Irish. So
Irish.
if you don't know, it's an Irish accent. Just imagine
Okay.
that
All
in your
right.
head.
What did it sound like?
it,
Not sure. Under script, but I liked it. Keep going.
Okay. All right. All right. So anyway, fast forward like maybe a year, I'm like at the pool up in Skyview, and I see Heather's daughter, Coco, and Heather at the pool. And, we started talking, and I was just like, oh, you're Bernie Heather. Like, Bernie always talks about you. She was like, oh, you're Bernie Katie. And so then we just started talking, and she was, we got to know more about each other. She found out that I was a photo stylist and ended up pulling me on to coach for a job. And so we had we had a work relationship. Like she knew like what my work ethic was like. She knew how I worked. I knew how she worked, and I thought she was awesome. And then we just became friends. It just kind of like rolled into this friendship where we were always playing tennis. We both like to be athletic, and like I think we're both competitive, and we both love to drink. And so anyway, it was just always like a good time. Like, it was just always a good time. So fast forward, I was working for Century 21. I lost my job because of COVID. and I had gone back to freelance work in the styling industry.
Wait,
And
hold on. I gotta intercede here because this is
okay,
where I was like, yeah, this
okay.
girl can grind. Like, I was so
So,
impressed. I was so impressed. She texted me or whatever, or oh no. So we're both in retail. I'm in Coach. She's in Century 21. She's head of studios over there. I'm doing my thing at Global Customer Experience at Coach. And so we get the news. I don't know if it's WWD Daily.
mhm.
It's front page, Century 21 closed down. And we're like, everyone gets the blast. So it's like 9 a.m. when we're like, what the, I don't know if you could curse here. So what the F? So I text her right away, 9 a.m. I'm like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And she was like, yeah, it's closed. This is done. And I was like, oh my God, if you need anything, let me know. Send me your resume. I'm going to send it to the photographers, to this
Mhm.
different studios, different companies, production companies that I know. I was like, she's such a seasoned stylist. She's a senior stylist. She really knows. So it's going to look good if if I say I know this girl, it's going to look good for me no matter what. So right away, I'm like, all right, send me your resume. Boom. She sends me her resume. Usually people like when you're like, oh yeah, people need like a grieving period. They're not about to hop on a laptop and send this one and send that one, write an email, they'll send a cover letter there. She's sending them out that day. The next day she keeps sending them out. I'm like, this girl's nuts. Then the next day I see her. She's like, all right, I was like, all right, let's like play some tennis. Maybe we'll make some cocktails. And she's like, yeah, just like 1 second. I have all these boxes in my car. I was like, wait, you have boxes in your car? She's like, yeah, I just got a job for Walmart. I'm like shooting like 50 stills for them, 50,
Oh,
flat,
wow.
flat lays, whatever. I was like, wait, so you just lost your job like 24 hours ago and you have another job right now and you have all the stuff in your car. And she's like, yeah, I set up a studio. We have all the equipment. We're ready to go. And I was like, this girl is like, I've never seen any work ethic like that in my life. So anyways, so go ahead. So now you're working for
Yeah. So
Walmart.
anyway, yeah, that's what I was doing. I was just hustling. I just continued I jumped I dove into the freelance world again after being out for like 6 years. I always played with it here and there. I would take vacation days and do freelance jobs that I thought were worth it, or just to network and keep that connection rolling when I was full time. But yeah, I just like dove in head first. And then I was doing that from like September until February. And then like Heather just called me so randomly out of the blue. And she was just like, so like, what do you think? Like, should we open this coffee shop? And I was, I was literally like,
Cool.
okay, yeah, let's do it.
Like, sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
And
also, we were both kind of like looking at houses like in Vermont.
right.
And I
Yeah.
was like, maybe I would buy a house in Vermont, redo it, have this cute little like Airbnb. And like she was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna do that in like upstate New York or whatever. And I said to her, I was like, right now there is a surge of 20%. The housing market is having a 20% surge right now. So anything we buy is going to depreciate in 5 years. It's going to be 20% less. I said, that is the dumbest thing. Everyone's looking over there. But right
Mhm.
now, if you go down to our main street, everyone's closed. Nobody's looking. All the restaurants are closing. There's so much inventory when it comes to equipment. The rents are so negotiable. Landlords are like trying to get people in. Right now, our neighborhood is like it's barely surviving commercially.
Mhm.
So I was like, we can be part of like a revival and we might be able to get a good deal too. And
It
Yeah.
was
she was
definitely
like,
definitely a sweet spot for timing,
Wow.
because like even if you look at the auctions that we were like looking at for equipment and stuff at the time, there's nothing like what we were finding.
no.
It's crazy. And
Wow.
as far as like negotiating rents, I mean, we negotiated and we got a good deal, and like yeah, we put a lot into the like build out, but still considering, I think that we did it on a pretty tight budget.
Yeah,
Wow.
super tight.
That's
And it's
amazing.
beautiful.
So we have a coffee shop, everyone. So
Now we
that's
have
So
the
cool.
dream that we made into a reality, is a coffee shop. A little bit of background about our neighborhood is we are a medium to high income neighborhood that is unique because it's also not totally affluent. There is such a rich diversity when it comes to socioeconomic standing as well as cultural backgrounds. And that's really incredible. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I chose to live here personally, is because I know what it's like, and Dave, you know this. I know what it's like to be raised in an all-white neighborhood, and it's very, very difficult for minorities. And I wanted a place where everybody was so different, where those kinds of differences are very celebrated, and they're very, people really recognize, acknowledge, and appreciate one another. So with all that being said, with this neighborhood that is so rich culturally and had a pretty good income, right, to work with, had no coffee shop.
Wow.
Zero coffee shop. And it's a very much a local, there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of walking. It's not this like, again, Staten Island's kind of one of the places like you're going to drive a lot. Like that's just kind of a driving culture. Here, it's so tight that it's really difficult to drive, even because like you can drive, but you're only driving like a block or two. Or if you do drive like near the schools, it's like just a ton of cars, and you're kind of, it makes no sense to do it. So, big walking culture, no coffee shop. And we live in a place where we're pretty densely populated. There's tons of apartment buildings. There's houses. There's just so many people. And the only central place for community to like gather would be like a community center that we have. Again, there's no like coffee there, it's just like a space. Or Dunkin' Donuts. And so everybody really spoke about this, like, oh, we should do a coffee shop, we should do a coffee shop. But, it's kind of rewind 3 years ago. I did kind of build this brand myself, by myself. And I was going to just do it kind of on my own, built this brand, went to did all the legwork. Very expensive. They really wanted to charge so much for rent, not negotiable, not friendly terms for leasing, very expensive equipment. It was just like cost on cost on cost. And then I'm doing it by myself. And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. It sounded terrible. I was like, this sounds like, why would I even put this pile of just mess on us? Because it seems like a viable business, but yet it just felt like a mountain to climb.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. And then I had really met Katie, and we really like established this just great mutual respect for one another. And I mean, I think it's kind of tough to impress me, Katie, like, but you just so impressed me. Like she would say, she's like, yeah, like Heather, like I'm very straightforward and honest. And she just impressed me so much. I was like, if there is anybody, I think this is just meant to be. And then with her partnership, with everything happening in this macro environment for us, that's what it was, kind of like destiny. That's what I think. It was at the right time, the right place. I had this idea 3 or 4 years ago. I paused it because I was like, this is not right. It didn't feel right. And then all of a sudden, with everything, it was just like destiny,
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was like a little bit of like destiny. And then I think we just kept each other going. And then we just did not stop. And we still haven't stopped. And
oh God, we keep going so hard.
Yeah. And Heather's like a crazy force. But like
But then Katie, like, I'm like crazy, like persistent, where like, I'm like, all right, I'm lining up all these things. I have all of these different appointments. We just did like a guest lecture at a college nearby. We're like doing these like crazy events, like community events, or like things like partnerships with local organizations. But Katie's are always like, she's always showing up. She's always there. She's like, always like, what needs to get done? What's doing this? And then she's also always making like it fun to do and not this like crazy chore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a good, the balance that we need, and it's no one person can't do it all. And it's, thank the
No,
Lord, it's just not a one-man job.
definitely not. Not if you want to keep your sanity. You know, it's like opening a coffee shop, like Heather said, it's like something that everybody kind of talks about, and it's like a very romantic idea. You know, it's like one of those things that I think a lot of people dream about doing, and it seems like, oh yeah, it's cool, just like hang out behind the bar and like meet all these people and make coffee, but there's like so much that goes into it that is painful, but worth it if you have the right partner.
It's so true. We, we all have different dreams, but it does get lonely when you're dreaming alone, and
Mm-hmm.
like you have to do this, you have to do this. There's so many little tasks when you have a business. It's, you got to be in the community. You got to respond to the emails to get to the point of being in the community. Then you got all the work and the tasks and the building and all the little day-to-day work. And then there's the photos and the social media. So it's amazing just to hear you two ladies working side by side and making it all possible. Heather, I think the vibe was right, and shout out to Bernie for really seeing the future
Big
before.
shout out to Bernie.
That's crazy. She saw this. She saw you as friends before you even met, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
yeah, she did.
And she said you should have a coffee shop together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
she was the one that recommended it, and yeah, it is really crazy if you think about
It's
it.
crazy. And we both thought the same thing, because she said to both of us, like, oh, you should, open up this coffee shop. Like, why don't you guys partner together? And we both were like, I
Why
don't
would
know
you do
her.
that?
Like, that sounds terrible. Like, why would I ever
I wouldn't.
partner with a random person? I don't, just could
That's
be
like an
a
arranged
psycho.
marriage.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's crazy. That's just so cool. And shout out to Bernie for even having the foresight of just knowing that. I'm sure she's been it's a she, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernie, yeah, yeah. So shout out to Bernie. I'm sure she's visited the coffee shop. Like, what did she say when she went in there? Being
Oh,
that
she knows it's
she saw
hers.
the
Yeah. We like are indebted to her. She's always like, she's always in here, and it's, she's like family to us, honestly.
Does she have her own like coffee flavor there?
You know what?
Or
It's
like
an iced decaf with
It's
lots
an
of
iced
sugar
decaf.
and
We
milk.
should do like Bernie's special.
All right, we'll roll out the Bernie
We'll
special.
roll
Uh,
out the Bernie
and what's
special.
cool,
That's
you
it.
are in the Bronx, so Yankees, Bernie Williams, it all just connects.
Bernie and Bernie. We can shout out to Bernie Williams and pretend it's for Bernie.
Well, anyone from the Bronx who grew up on the New
Or we
York,
can do like
they'll just
Bernie shirts.
yeah, that's just so cool. So you're in the Bronx, you haven't even met, and you have a mutual friend who's watching both your kids who just has this vibe, and then here you are 3 years later. We're in a time where a lot of people hit a wall. They It was tough. It was one of the hardest times for so many people. Taking a lot of L's. You know, but you both, you turn lemons into lemonade, or you turn lemons into coffee aid. But shout out to both of you for being self-aware, Heather. Just feeling the time, having the vision years ago, but so, and it's true, having dreams, sometimes you got to pause them, you got to pivot, because jumping into something at the wrong time isn't always the right thing. And it's just an amazing thing to hear this story about how things are connecting. So what's the day-to-day vibe like in the shop? How do you work together? What would you say is your favorite thing about it?
Definitely not closing.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about it is that I get to drink excellent coffee every day. And
Yeah,
like
me too.
and like see all these like people from the neighborhood, and everybody comes in and says hi, and like it just everybody's happy that comes in. And when they're not, it's like, oh, you're a challenge here, and you kind of gotta figure them out. But it's just a really good vibe. And yeah, closing sucks, but
Closing sucks. Everybody who does come in though, they're always like, oh my, they always say the same thing. They're like, I love the vibe in here. Like your
yeah.
vibe. They'll just say like your vibe. Like I just like it. And like I'm just so happy when I'm here. Or like Katie was saying the other day, she was like, oh, what you told me the story, right, Katie? When somebody was on the phone, you tell it. You're better at that.
Wait, which one?
When someone was on the phone, they're like, why do you go to Early Bird and not like Starbucks or something?
Why do you go to? I don't think it was me that
Oh,
told you that.
wasn't you? Then it was Zoe. Zoe told me.
Yeah, it was
So
probably
the
so.
lady was on the phone and to her friend, and she like ordered her drink. And maybe it was on speaker, and her friend was like, why do you go to Early Bird and not Starbucks? And she's just like, I just love it here. Like she was like, and I forgot what drink she got as a pumpkin spice, because we make a lot of our stuff from scratch, because we don't like the preservatives and everything. Like when I drink a pumpkin spice latte, like I don't want to drink glycofeminine, like I don't know, I just
Yeah.
want to drink like pumpkin spice, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like whole ingredients.
Yeah.
I can't be telling you our set recipes, but so yeah, when we were like looking at ingredients, we were like, we're just gonna do it ourselves. So yeah, and she was like, oh my god, I love this, like, and you'd see them take their first sip and they're like, and
Yeah.
like they just walk out. Yeah, it's the best. And like,
That's
I
amazing.
agree. Like all day I get to drink all my favorite drinks. Like that's all we have here is our favorite stuff. So like I'll drink, like it's cold now, so I drink like a hot coffee in the morning. We have a snickerdoodle. It's with cinnamon and vanilla roasted into the beans. So good. Put milk in it, done. Drink that in the morning. Then for lunch, I have my acai bowl with almond butter, and we have the organic almond butter. So we know that's it. It's so healthy, so delicious, keeps my skin nice, keeps me looking slim. Yes, I'm gonna take that. And then if I get like really starving later, then we go to the avocado toast. And like, I like the avocado. I do just little bits. Like I don't do the whole toast, but
she eats it all. I'm like,
That's
hey,
great.
eat another thing. She can eat us out of house and home.
yeah, it's like, and then we stopped eating the breads. Oh my god. So there's this, I'll tell you this. So we have all these different bakers. Like we have Balthazar Bakery. They're like, Balthazar's in Soho. They do a wholesale. So we get that. It's like an iconic French establishment from New York City. So we get them up here. But that's like good for French baked goods. But you need some like little cakes or little breads. So we have this other bread that we've been getting in, and it's freaking delicious. It's hard to stop eating it.
Really good.
The issue is and Katie and I both been indulging. We're like, oh yeah, this, la la la.
So like, just eat the butt. Oh,
just eat the butt.
Broken. Eat the whole thing.
This is the butt. I'll eat it. Like just total gluttons. And all of a sudden the baker gave us the price and we were like, holy shit, we cannot be wasting a morsel.
And now, but like we were there this morning rolling back the videotapes to see how many slices. We were like, why are there only 6 slices left? And it says that only 8 were sold. There should be 28 slices. Like
we were literally, it's a $4. We charged $4.65. We're like, roll the tapes. Who's the bread thief? Katie's like, have you been eating it? I was like, I haven't touched it. like, I haven't been eating it. Anyway, so we stopped eating
Sounds
that.
really good.
So that's done. We're not eating the bread
Yeah,
anymore.
no more eating bread. I mean, now I feel bad even eating the pastries, to be honest. Any of it.
Yeah,
Just-
no, I'm done. I'm done with the pastries.
We need the $2.
That's awesome. Everything sounds really good. I can't wait to stop by and check everything out.
It's great.
It's just so cool to hear how passionate you both are about this. And I think that's such a key ingredient. You know, you said you couldn't share your ingredients of the recipes, but like, I feel like that's a key ingredient to dreams and life. It's just passion. And it's just hearing both you ladies talk about the flavors and the recipes and kind of the process, even, you know, the not so fun stuff, you know, closing down the shop at night, which is a lot of work. It just seeing your passion and hearing about it, it shows why things are working, you know, and you're working well together.
I was just laughing because you were talking about passion. And I'm like, we haven't even spoken about spoons yet.
Oh, wait, should we tell the spoon story?
Yeah,
I don't
please.
know if it's too soon. Is it too soon for the spoon story?
I don't know. I mean, we had the whole spoon debacle before we even opened, really.
Okay, fine. I wonder, yeah, go ahead. Tell the spoon story.
So we're like trying to figure out, okay, what do we need in the shop? Like, I put together this whole list of like things that you use in the kitchen. I'm like, we need steel bowls, we need spoons, we need trays, we need, you know, like all of these things. And she's like going line by line, like, what's the purpose for this?
Well,
She got to the spoons and she was like, what do we need a spoon for? And I was like, I don't know. Like,
what kind of spoon? I was like, well, what kind of spoon are we talking here?
Like, she needed to know exactly.
And she was like, I don't know. We're going to need spoons. And I was like a stirring spoon? Like, yeah, we'll probably need that. And I was like a big spoon? And she was like, we might need that. And I was like, I don't know.
She literally was like, no, I don't think we need spoons. I was like, okay, Heather, we don't need spoons.
She's like, fine, no spoons. Fine.
I just let her think on her own. I'm like, all right, no spoons.
Fast forward.
Yeah. So what happened?
We don't need knives. We do have some knives. We don't need forks. We only need all different kinds of spoons. Like, we need a spoon for everything.
We have like
we need a
500
spoons. We need a big spoon. We need a heavy spoon. We need a big, like a larger ladle spoon. We need a cup spoon. We need a smaller cup spoon. We need so many spoons.
Oh my gosh, we have like, and then she keeps on ordering more spoons, and I'm like, dude, we don't need this many spoons.
We just had a pie baking contest.
You got like
outside.
a big thick thing of like 100 spoons. I was like,
wow.
what do we need 100 spoons?
She was like, enough, calm down with the spoons. I'm like, we need more spoons. We were outside of that pie baking contest, and someone was said, again, it always pops up. Someone was like, do you have a spoon? And it was like, Katie, don't bring any spoons. We don't need any spoons.
I'm always like, you can thank me.
You can thank me for this spoon. This is another shop. It'd be no spoon coffee shop. Spoonless. That's what I would name my next coffee shop. Spoonless.
That's really funny. It's
and you can
yeah,
use your finger to stir. And hands to get peanut butter out of vats of peanut butter.
We just need a hand.
Really, all you need is a hand and a glove.
That's great.
Sorry, these are like inside coffee shop stuff.
It's all good. It's just cool hearing about this because, you know, being in Staten Island, we grew up, it was always Dunkin'. It was always, you know, maybe about a decade or so ago, Starbucks kind of came into the picture heavy in Staten Island. Now it's everywhere you look. But we I feel like people crave coffee, but we also crave community, and coffee shops give that to us. And then we also crave local. At least I do. And so for you to
Mhm.
be able to combine those three elements is just a beautiful thing. Just to give people a community vibe. Also coffee, people need that. Like that's kind of like my lady, she doesn't even eat breakfast. She literally wakes up and coffee's like her first thing in the morning. So, you're providing three really important elements of people's lives in one place. It's just really awesome just to hear this. And so the vibes, people been complimenting the vibes at the shop, you've been saying, right? That's
Yes.
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. People like it.
People need that, and I feel like coffee shops, so much goes down, and like they say, oh, it goes down in the DM or whatever, but I feel like it goes down in the coffee shop in a positive way. Like people have great meetings, people have dates, people,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people break bread, they make agreements, like people take their family. It's such a universal place for the like business, dating, family. It encompasses so many great things. So that's just so awesome to hear these things.
It, and I think you're touching on something that's been so fulfilling for us is that we are part of the community, so we're almost like we are basically patrons ourselves in a sense. So when we see people come here, as you were saying, like it can be someone just coming here with their laptop and working from here, or it can be a person like our age that doesn't live here anymore, but that's bringing their parent who lives here, that's visiting. It could be families, a mom and a daughter today was just grabbing a smoothie together right after school. Full families coming. It could be like young couples coming with their dog, or just kids, high school kids coming to grab acai bowls or smoothies. Like it's really fulfilling for us because we know that we're providing them really great, delicious food, right? But also a really comfortable, casual environment that feels good to be in. Um, and again, not to throw Duncan under the bus again, but we're for over there, like they took out all the tables. Any counter area is sticky as all heck. I mean, there is a dingy outdoor seating space that you can sit at in like a parking lot. So it's really nice that, people come, mom groups come here with their strollers. And, again, it's just a nice, clean environment that that you can be yourself in and feel comfortable, posting up for a little bit. So it is, that's what fulfills us and rewards us the most, I think.
Yeah, because it's exactly what we wanted,
Yeah.
like we wanted to create a space. And, Riverdale is separated into like three different sections. There's like North Riverdale, which is where we are, Central Riverdale, which has nothing, but it's like in between North and South Riverdale. South Riverdale has the Starbucks and it has its own like independent coffee shop. And there was another one that happened to close, which was unfortunate, but they have like a ton of options over there. And like for us, it was also like unfair that nobody ever comes up to North Riverdale, even though there was like some great like retail spaces, like commercial spaces. For some reason, none of them work out, you know what I mean? Especially during COVID. But like people put in like weird shops up here. It's always like a T-Mobile or like a Dunkin' Donuts. And, there's like another weird store that I'm not going to mention that opened up in like a great spot. And we're like, why are they even thinking that this is going to work out over here?
I mean,
Mm.
I say, I think that's mafia over there because there's no way that
Like
store hasn't
just the
opened a
front.
day. And that it's so weird. They haven't opened a day. And
So
for 6 months, I heard that they paid their rent for 6 months. Boom, here. They gave it flat out.
I
That's
think
a
they should some people with weird money. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
But yeah, to be able to, and so like the block that we opened up on, even like, because I grew up over here, it was always kind of like desolate, and like nothing was ever happening. There's always been a Russian deli next door, and even that place is a little like seedy. So it was a big risk, even just like setting up shop over here and hoping that it would be successful. And I think that has just been like, a breath of fresh air for the neighborhood, and
Yeah.
it has been inspiring. We have more people coming in and opening up cool shops in like on the block, and just everybody's inspired and happy that we're there.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
They're calling it, like some people call it, oh, the new restaurant row. They're like, oh, what early bird, a coffee shop early bird's going on. This is like the new restaurant row of Riverdale. Because and again, like Dave, just so to give you context, imagine if, you know, North Shore had nothing. We have all these people, there's nothing there. And South Shore has all these cute little coffee shops. And you drive down to South Shore at Townville and you're like, oh wait, everybody's just walking, like, hanging out. Oh, they're just seeing their neighbors, and they're just drinking coffee and hanging outside this really cool shop. And like that's what it was like in North and South Riverdale. Like North Riverdale, we had nothing, but then you drive over to South Riverdale and everyone's walking around, hanging out and having a great time, being in all these cute places, and you're just like, it'd be great if I didn't have to drive over here and I can just like walk to my neighborhood place. But there wasn't any. So
Wow.
yeah. Oh, but actually, Katie, you said something so interesting about the risk. Like it was really risky, and I think that anybody like trying to chase a dream or whatever dream that they, in whatever industry that they're going after, I feel like, they always say like when you're doing financial investments, like you can mitigate your risk by doing the research and having the data. So you can make informed decisions if you have the information. So there are two main commercial streets in our neighborhood. There's one main one, and then there's one secondary one, and we're on a secondary one. And there was a spot on the main block, and we weighed both of those, and we said, what are the pros being over there? Obviously, you have foot traffic, you have visibility, you have a lot. That's super important. And if it's a good price, okay. Then we looked at this one and we said, well, here it's kind of like more neighborhoody, a bigger sidewalk. It's less traffic so that you can be sitting outside and you're not like zoom, whizzing by you. And it feels more like a neighborhood spot, like more comfortable. But then something that is very important here in Riverdale is the landlord. The landlords are known to be really bad here. Like that's why a lot of our commerce isn't flourishing, is because we have what people call robber barons. They're super, super rich and they don't take care of the properties because they have a huge portfolio. And so a lot of things get lost. So if a property is making you a ton of money, which they charge such high rents for over here, like astronomical, like something that you would be like, what? Like this one spot wants this old stationery store. That's why they left next to Key Food. They want to charge $14,000 for every month. And it's in a really cruddy shopping center, really cruddy. And, but they're getting the money. So they're getting the money. They don't need to fix anything. They don't need to improve anything. There's no lawsuits happening. So they're not doing anything. The spot that was on the main street, it wasn't a terrible landlord, but they weren't local people. They were a management company that is in charge of collecting money and making sure that they're not getting any lawsuits or violating any Department of Building codes. So when you have kind of by the book, if by the book, you know, I don't got an issue here, I'm not going to help you out. So that's why we chose the spot that we're in right now, is because the landlord has been here for like 50 years. She's
Wow.
part of a lot of the boards. She's a woman in business. She's part of a lot of the community boards. She really cares about this neighborhood. And she's been right there hand in hand with us. She is checking in on us before we even get a moment to be like, you know, saying her name. She will be like when Ida came through, everybody got washed out here. Everyone got
Wow.
flooded. She was the first one who messaged us. She was like, is everything okay? Is it dry over there? What's going on?
Wow.
I'm going to send somebody over there
Mhm.
now. Like, we have to assess, we have to rebuild, we have to make sure that there's moments, because she wants to keep this as good as possible.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah, so having that partnership is just invaluable. And so again, so then back to the initial idea that I said about like mitigating the risk and making informed decisions. I feel like that if you really kind of know the values that you stick to as a person, as an individual, but then also as a brand, it will really guide your decision making. And it may be in the short term, you're sacrificing high visibility in the neighborhood and to your potential consumer. However, that's in the short term. In the long run, you know that you can slowly chip away at that through certain marketing strategies. And in the long run, you know that you can build a super healthy brand that's core to what you guys believe in, which we believe in community, we believe in the neighborhood, we believe in creating a comfortable space that's important to us, and a comfortable, safe space. So that's kind of, again, just guided us to where we are now.
That's powerful. It's so true. It's so true. And it's a blessing that, you know, you're both from the neighborhood and you really know you're like, hey, we need this. I had a feeling we didn't have this, and I want to bring this because I want this. I'm craving this. I'm sure other people need it too, and people need community. People need coffee. People need a place to meet and eat good food. And here you are. You brought the answer to the hood. Um, that's just an amazing thing, and it's so true. To be able to do the research is so valuable, and then to line it up with your values is such a gem for anyone in any industry or any dream. Because just jumping in cold water with no swimmies, you're taking a risk, you know. And of course, it's always a risk. But if you're planning, you're calculating, and then you're aligning it with your values, that's huge.
Yeah, Heather actually brought a lot of research to the table before like she even came to me. Like she gave me like an entire proposal of all like is like showing me everything that she had worked on for like the years before. And you know, like I looked at some of the numbers and I was like, well, I don't know if that's like a realistic number, but I'm down with it anyway. You know, like, you know, the build out number especially. It was like, this is probably gonna be triple that.
Yeah, we were like, I was like, I'm about to set up a table and just get a coffee machine. And we'll
Yeah, but
call it
you know what? I was
$20.
also just like so impressed. Like Heather, her negotiating skills are insane. I was like, there's no way you're gonna get that for that. And then she'll be like, boom, I got it for what? Like she just, you know, she makes things happen. Like it's a talent I don't have like that, like negotiating and things like that.
That's
So
I
powerful.
shoot for very low. I'm like, in my mind, I was like, I have to get it as low as possible. And then if we pay higher, that's okay, because I know that at least what I wanted is unrealistic. That's unrealistic, right? But that's where my mindset is at. So when people feel that vibe, that they're like, that like, wait, hold on. All right, you only have $40,000 to make this work. And I'm like, yeah, we only have 40,000. Like that is it. That's all we have. Like, how are we gonna do this? You know, and like people be like, all right, like I really can't do it for 40, but I can do it for 65. And that's like me like really going down there, you know, like that's
Yeah,
me
yeah,
not making a lot of money. And I'm like, all right, sold. You know what? I wanted 40. I know that's crazy, but it's gonna, you know, we gotta, that's, you know, we have to still be, you know, I think when you have that vibe that's there, people wanna work with that, you know, and in some
Yeah.
way.
No,
And
yeah,
absolutely. And even, yeah, but like with everything, she'll like not quit until she gets it, like just a little bit, even if it's just a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
And
Or like
people
the
are always just
garbage. I
like,
was like, I am
sure.
working on that garbage. I was like, all right, they didn't come weigh it yet. Like I didn't see them weigh it. And they're like, I told the guys to weigh it. Give me a minute. And then he'd be like, all right, then he'd be coming back. He's like, all right, they didn't weigh it, but they weighed it this day. And then they said it was this much. I was like, how is that possible? We're a small coffee shop. He has to weigh it again. And so that, you know, and then it's like we're going back and forth. A month later, we cut our bill by 50%. And I was just like, we won. Like, you know, it's like we gotta like I like work on it because it's crazy, you know. A
makes a
lot of it
difference.
is a lot of it is like, you know, it's almost like you can say like, oh, it's just so expensive and it's just like you gotta eat shit sometimes. But like, I'm gonna try for like, we're all gotta eat some shit then. Like, I'm gonna spoon feed you some shit. I'm gonna take some shit. Like, let's like figure out how I can eat some less shit and then you can eat some shit too.
Yeah,
And you know what? Sometimes in the end, I gotta take that full plate and eat that full shit myself.
yeah. Real talk. I totally get it. It, and just
And
being
I just get to smell it all the time.
And then she's just smelling all that shit all the time. It's crazy.
nah, that's the shit right there. You know, just to you just got to be persistent, and
Yeah.
you gotta
Persistence.
you gotta know what you want, and you had a vision, and you had a number in mind, and you made it work. You know, and maybe you didn't get the exact, but you shot. You're like, all right, I'm gonna shoot this way, even if I get a
No.
little bit closer, and it's not exact, it still works. So it sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this seems unrealistic. Okay, but what if it's totally unrealistic if you don't try and you don't even give it a shot? So it's
Right.
like,
But
all
you
right,
have to
let's
have
get
like a
close.
plan. Yeah. Even if you have a plan at all, you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that makes such a difference. And
Hmm.
just to have that hunger and that organization and to be able to, you know, see things and then go off your instincts and vibes and mix that with research. That's just that's the shit right there. But then it's really awesome to just hear how passionate you both are about this. So what would you say, Katie, is your favorite thing about Heather? I know you
Oh,
said a few things, but what's something that you know?
so many favorite things about Heather. I think, okay, my favorite thing about Heather, I think, is just her positive attitude that, like, you know, that she could be like really pissed about something, but she always turns things into like either a learning moment or just like looking at it, like looking at things differently instead of like dwelling in like the problem. You know, it's always just like, all right, let's find a solution, you know. And it's always just bringing positive energy to everything, even though it could go down like a bad path, you know. And I can be a worrywart sometimes, and she just always gets me out of it.
Wow,
So maybe that's my favorite thing about her.
that's beautiful. And Heather, what would you say your favorite thing about Katie is?
Um, definitely her sense of humor. She is always, she's never serious. She's always sarcastic and she's always saying the funniest ish. And people sometimes think she's serious. And I'm like, she's not serious. She's joking. But it's always making me laugh hysterically. And like, we'll be here, you know, I love obviously drinking the coffee, eating the food. It's amazing here. But I love working with Katie so much because it's always so just it's fun, you know.
Yeah,
We're the bosses, so when we're behind the bar, you know, people need to like Like they don't joke with us as much, or like sometimes they do a little bit, but they're kind of on their best behavior.
Oh, you mean the staff?
Yeah, the staff. Why? What did I say? The people?
You said the people, so I was like, you mean the staff or like the people on the other side?
Gotcha.
Yes, the staff.
The staff.
And but when we're working together, it's hysterical. I die laughing. Or like
I know we don't really get to like be behind the bar, just you and me that often.
Not really. It happens like once a week, maybe.
Once a week, maybe for like an hour.
Or like a little bit here or there. And whenever it is, it's always like, oh, customers coming. Like, we get the two of you today?
Yeah, I know. Everybody's like, whoa.
Whoa, yeah.
That's awesome. It's just so important to just acknowledge your people and just tell them why you appreciate each other. And it was just really nice to hear your favorite thing about each other. Um, I really like the name of the shop. How did you even come up with that?
Well, my husband says that he came up with it, but
Oh, word.
I don't remember this at all. And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "I don't." Maybe he did like years ago, like 5 years ago. Um, you know, honestly probably not one of our most thoughtful decisions, because if I really put more thought into it now, I would like, even when we were first talking about this, Katie and I, we were like, time is of the essence. We had a logo. We liked the name. We really loved it. We loved it. However, if I had 6 more months to just like think about it, obviously it defies all the laws of marketing. Like the first law is like you got to like make up a name. It can't be anything in vernacular for search engine optimization. It should be something like Starbucks, not a real name.
Like
It
a
should be
yeah,
like
yeah.
Rocket Gate, like
Yeah,
it should
yeah.
be something like ridiculous, like something totally ridiculous, and so your SEO like just increases right
Yep,
away.
yep.
However, we love the idea that early bird could be early bird one, right away you think coffee, right? You
Yep.
think something in the morning.
Yep.
And so right away, it doesn't need to say early bird coffee or early bird cafe. It could just say early bird, and right away you're like, that's probably a coffee shop.
Yeah.
They may have eggs, I don't know. So that's what we liked about it. And then also with Earl, the like mascot on the logo, we loved how like the early bird font is a little bit more sweet. And then Earl is just like a bird who's seen some shit. Like he's been through the ringer. He might have had a rough night, and he pulled himself out of bed, went to the coffee shop, got his coffee, and he's just trucking through the day. Like he's there. He's present, he's there, he's awake, and coffee's getting him through it. So we kind of like that, kind of
Love
like the
it.
dichotomy between the two, where like anyone can be an early bird, just pull yourself out of bed. And it's like, just kind of like anyone can be a dreamer, anyone can accomplish their goals. You don't need to look your best or do your best. As long as you're doing it, that's really all that matters. And you just got to get up in whatever state you're at and go do life.
That's fire. That's beautiful. Shout out to your husband. Um, and shout out to you for you both really for making the dream a reality. And I really love the backstory of that. And it's true. I when I hear early bird, it's like get up and get it, no matter
Yeah.
what. No matter if I'm wearing sweats or if I'm wearing a 3-piece suit. Like I'm up and I'm up and I'm at it. And when I hear early bird, that's what I think. And it has a very positive connotation to me, and like a go after it in a good way. And all right, you had a long night. Early bird gets it though.
Yeah, you still got.
Oh, hold on. Service. Oh, I think my Wi-Fi's. Sorry. I have,
Oh,
Oh, we have to like go back into
oh,
the thing.
sorry.
Oh,
that's
No, it was just I think my Wi-Fi. We're all good though. But
oh, okay.
I love the name, and I may have missed you the last 20 seconds. But
She was asking me to show her my tits.
yeah. No, I said like we came up with a tagline, and it's tough things made easy. And that was kind of like, we're just here trying to make it easy for you, easier.
yeah, yeah, and just being there for each other is so key. Having a place for the community is so powerful, and then just giving someone that morning jolt in the morning, whether it's food or coffee or a snack or a meal, it goes such a long way. We need all those things. I crave all of them. I'm not the biggest coffee person, but I love the community
What do
vibe.
you drink?
I love tea.
What kind of tea?
I like green tea. I like peach tea.
Do you
Yeah,
drink
Oh,
iced tea or do you drink hot
I,
tea?
I love iced tea.
oh my God.
I
No,
We
love
have
both.
that's crazy because we have like the sickest green tea that's like infused with peach.
What?
it's all natural
I
and it's
love
really,
It's
peach.
really good.
crazy.
Peach is my
It's so
favorite.
good.
It's so good. Everyone comes in, they come in for that. We have a iced green tea infused with peach, and then we have an iced black tea infused with orange, like orange
that?
rinds. And I mean, when you see the tea leaves, you're like, this is like real tea, like real, like tea, like herbs and stuff, like gathered from the forest, it looks like. And then when you drink it, it's so good. People
Delicious.
love
I
it.
can't wait to come to the Bronx.
Yeah.
You got to make your way over here.
That's
Ferry, train, shuttle.
Oh my God. I think I went to Staten Island maybe once.
yeah.
And it was like a mistake because I was trying to go to LMB.
Oh my God, shut up. You're trying to go to LMB and you went to Staten Island?
I just like took a wrong turn. I don't know.
Oh, that happens off the belt.
I
Yeah.
was like,
That happens.
how am I on the bridge? What a pizza.
Oh my God, that's like a staple for us, LMB. Going to
I
Oh,
love
Summer
LMB.
Gardens. Yeah.
It's not
Um,
bad that you ended up here though. When you were looking for pizza, there's plenty of
oh,
good pizza.
Yo,
This is
Dave,
a
what's
spot
your
on pizza.
favorite pizza? Like, all right, because we have just the best pizza at Staten Island. Like, I swear, someone said you could swing a cat and you'll land on an awesome pizza place. So, what's your top three and why? Tell me, because there's all different kinds here.
Wow, top three. Okay,
Top three, because
so
I have mine ready.
all right, hold on. I want to kind of go down the line. Um, it's so crazy because I just kind of have like a one that I'm just obsessed with.
All right, what is
That
it?
just kind of so like I do it by you were talking about stats and the numbers. If I never kept track, but it's pretty easy for me to know what place I've been to the most, and it's Brothers. I've just been to Brothers the most. I could be any part of the borough, and I would go to Brothers over where I'm at, even if I'm very close to certain spots. Um, it it to me it's like nostalgia meets great taste because I grew up there. It was right near all the schools I ever grew up to going after school. But then the taste is just so good too, and then I know the people, so I have the family vibe there. So it connects so many dots for me. So Brothers to me is my favorite. Um, I love I enjoy Goodfellas. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it also has a nostalgia. I have memories attached to it with my family and with early on in my relationship. Um, but it's so weird. Brothers kind of like overshadows every other spot for me. But I love
Me,
it.
Brothers is like number three.
Okay.
I love Brothers for the same reason. Like nostalgia, it's a really good slice, crisp, good sauce, great cheese, perfect proportions. So
Yeah.
yes, I love Brothers for sure. Special place in my heart. Number one though, for me is Jove, New York Lane. Have you
Word.
had it?
I haven't had it enough to have an opinion because I show a lot of
Oh,
favoritism.
it's so good. I love it.
My siblings love it.
I love it so much over there. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not even really sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna take you on a tour of all these places because you're gonna see how it's all so different. Are you frozen? No, you're not.
So me?
Yeah.
Or
No, you're just listening intently.
I'm listening because I don't know about Staten Island pizza, and I'm like wondering, like, is it like a New York slice? Is it like a Neapolitan pizza? Like, what kind
No,
of
they're
pizza?
all New York slices, but they're done so they are so unique.
Yeah.
And they're so New York. They're
Yep.
so New York, but for some reason you're like Joe's Pizza. Have you had Joe's Pizza in Williamsburg?
No.
Joe's Pizza. It's like brothers in a sense, like
Okay.
very New Yorky. But Jove is kind of like that wood. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, second,
Yeah.
Joe and Pat's.
That's what I was literally about
Joe
to
and
say.
Pat's.
Joe and Pat's is second for
Because I
me.
could eat like
Yeah.
a whole half of that pizza because it's so thin.
Half?
Yes, it's so
You
thin.
Eat a
could.
whole pie to myself.
What? Oh my God. All
Yeah.
right. That's it. I'm going to bring you all these different pizzas. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there on
Why
Saturday.
stop half? I'm like, I'm not taking this home.
You're crazy.
Joe and Pat's for sure. I would give that number 2 as well. I was literally thinking to bring that up. There's a new spot I went to recently, Rustic Pizza.
Pete.
Yeah,
Montrose.
Pete spot. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually really good. I found out about it, and I've been going
I
there a
heard.
lot lately.
Everybody's been talking about it.
Really good.
So, Dave, I used to date Pete
Oh no, I didn't.
when I was much younger, when we were like, I don't know if you can call dating, but we were very young. And he actually gave me a lot of advice when opening this place.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a G in this. He's definitely knows what he's doing. I love that spot. My lady and I've been going there a lot. So yeah, Brothers, Joe and Pat's. And then Rustic is climbing a third, but I just haven't had it enough to really cement it in that place. But how much you've been talking about Jove, I'm gonna definitely go there more.
And like re-stimulate your taste buds.
My brother and sister are obsessed with it. We were in Jersey and they're like, we gotta go to Jove. It's not that far.
Joe.
And there were spots like right around the block, and I'm like, all right, I'm down for whatever. Like pizza to me is everything. So,
Agreed.
what about you, Katie? What's your favorite spot? I know not in Staten Island, but just in general.
My favorite spot always kind of switches depending on what kind of pizza I want. Right now, I mean, Heather knows there's like 2 places that we go that are nearby and like close enough and like family friendly enough, and that's Fortina and this place that's more local, Kingsbridge Social Club. But I only like one pizza from there.
Yeah.
Like Kingsbridge, they have this one that's like eggplant with like a spicy honey that they put on it. And so it's not like a traditional New York slice, but it's delicious. And I always add the burrata,
Okay.
and it makes it just like that much more crazy.
All right, now I
Sounds
want to
really
eat that.
It's
Sounds
so
really
good. It's so
right.
good. But like I've got a different pizza the last time I went, and I was like, no, I can't switch it. So,
Yeah.
but when I lived in the city, I loved Luzzo's. But it's
Okay.
like a Neapolitan.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've been
Mhm.
there.
The
I love
original
their
Luzzo's
Nutella
on like
on
First
2nd Ave.
Avenue. It
Yeah.
was on like First Avenue and 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went there, what's his freaking name? Anthony, dang, he went to more, anyway, I went there with some Staten Island people and his
Okay.
cousin and I went there with, yeah.
Yeah, I used to go there with the Italians all the time. All the time. I dated an Italian for a while, and that was where we would go. And it was like legit.
Yeah, I gotta go.
But it's like Italian pizza. It's not like New York pizza.
Pizza for me is just everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I got some work to do this week.
Yeah.
I know. I feel like I need to go to Staten Island and try pizza.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah.
Heather just needs to go and bring it back for me.
I'll bring it back. But the thing is, it's like you don't really like the
It's not the same.
traditional pizza.
I do. I
You do?
do
All
like
right.
traditional pizza.
All right, I'll bring you back. I could bring you probably back
I
to.
just don't want like a slice with like gross, like bad quality mozzarella cheese on it with like, like I do like a traditional slice.
Okay.
I gotta like tame myself.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm weird too. Like I want the pizza when it comes out the oven too,
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mm-hmm.
so. People are like, oh Dave, don't worry, you'll just throw it in the microwave. I'm like, throw it in the microwave, and I'm like, no,
No.
like don't worry. I was
What's
like,
wrong with
it has to
that
be a certain.
person?
Like to me, it's like religion almost. Like it's so, I take it so serious. I'm like, nah, I want it when it comes out. I want to see how they guide me with the temperature, because they make it a certain way and serve it to you. I want to feel it that in that moment, like if I could. Um, I, if I'm not big on reheating. Like if I have to, I will, but I always want it when it's fresh. Like that to me is everything. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely check out those spots you mentioned, and I like this pizza talk for sure.
Now we gotta do pizza pod. That'll be our next spot. It's either an ice cream store or a pizza store. Pizza shop.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna do a wine shop. Katie wanted to do a wine shop, so I was like,
We can do a wine shop too, but I just feel like I'll be like way exhausted.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if we're like open late and drinking wine.
Yeah, I'd imagine I'd want to drink a glass or something on like a Tuesday if I was there.
I mean, a glass. I'll be like done with a bottle. Once it's like the pizza. Once you open it, you have to finish the whole thing.
It's
I'm
true.
like after a glass, I'm on like a Tuesday. I'm not saying like a Friday is different. On a Tuesday, I'd probably be passed out. Before you see me. I just go.
Yeah.
I go right to sleep. I'll be drinking at her house, and I'm like, I'm about to pass out right now. I gotta go home.
So it's so crazy to talk about this. We've been talking so much about dreams. There's so many people with dreams, and I've heard some people be like, "Oh, I'm so busy. I got kids. I have a job. I, I don't even have time for my dreams." Like, and both of you are both mothers. I know that's probably the hardest job in the world. But probably the most rewarding, of course. But there's, shout out to all the moms out there. You're performing miracles on the daily. What advice would you give someone that may feel like they don't have enough time because there's so much to do at home, and then you got to take the kids here and take the kids there? Like, how do what advice would you share with, mothers or fathers that have a dream, but they they have a lot going on and they're trying to make it all work?
I would say the most tactical thing that anybody could do is read the Morning Miracle. It's like a 30-minute book, all right? And it's going to kind of carve out time for yourself in the morning before your whole family is awake. I did it when I had a 6-month-old or a year old or whatever. She was a baby. I have an older son. I have a family. I have a full-time job. I carved out that time for me in the morning. We're gonna get to Katie, but Katie, I'm gonna just give it a little preview. Katie wakes up early in the morning too. She's just an early riser, so she's getting whatever she got to get it done. So she'll talk more about herself, but I really recommend that book because I feel like it gave me tactics and strategies on how to ease my mind and be able to think better, more strategically, quicker, be more calm for myself. Like it gave me a lot of, it has its whole thing. Like you wake up early, this is how you wake up, you set your alarm, you drink your water, you brush your teeth, and then you do, 10 minutes of this, 10 minutes of that, 10 minutes of this. Even if, or right, there's like that pretty like intense method. Even just giving yourself like 3 minutes, if you can find 3 minutes or 2 minutes of your time to sit quietly without any distractions, that is going to be invaluable to your focus and your laser focus on anything that you want to do. Because once you quiet your mind, and it's like meditation, but it could even just be quiet, you can download Headspace, 2 minutes of your day, and then the next day try 2 minutes more. The next day you might be able to do three, next day you might be able to do four. Consistency, doing things every single day. Get one thing done, get one thing done a day, that's it. It can be quick. The next day try to get one thing done, like doing anything consistently. So sorry, I guess it went from a book to just 2 minutes to doing things consistently, but in
Yeah,
the
no, it's great.
I guess that's kind of where my train of thought went. Really, as long as you're doing things every single day and you're working on it, even if it's tiny little steps, that's all that matters, because then you're checking things off the list. Make a checklist. If there are things, like we have checklists all the time, Katie and I, like when we're like tackling a project, if you don't have a checklist, you now didn't identify anything that you need to do, and you will not make any progress whatsoever. So first you got to identify those things and then check it off. I wouldn't say launch a coffee shop should be on the checklist, but I would say maybe research different empty spaces. It could be drive around the neighborhood and look. It's very small things. Then once you do one thing every day, it'll amount to something really big, and then you have data. Once you have data in your mind, you will, again, back to the informed decisions. You can make informed decisions. Katie, sorry,
I
that was
love it.
really
No,
No, no, no.
don't be
I
sorry
think
about that. That was fire. I'm probably gonna
yeah, no,
be like Funk
she's
Flex
always
and play that in the morning to get motivated. No, that was great.
yeah, now
Thank
I
you.
want to read the morning, whatever it was. That's where my brain is. I'm like, I
Thank
gotta
you.
read now. But I agree 100% on the taking time for yourself and the meditation. Like, I know that my mind, and especially like people that are thinking about doing something, there are so many thoughts that can come to you that can discourage and like push down doing things and like actually just going forward and moving forward with like accomplishing a dream or accomplishing anything. And those fears and things always come into my brain, but whenever I feel them, I'm like, no, no, I'm not like the first person that's done this. I'm not the only person that, I'm not the first person that's ever done this. I believe that this is something that can happen. And then when you just believe that it's something that can happen, then you go and do what Heather's done, where like you just do the next step and you do the next step and you don't worry about like, okay, well, we only got one thing done from that list that we made of like 10 things, but it's one thing that's done. And like what she's saying, it's the more you keep chipping away and the more you just keep on doing, eventually you've just accomplished. And then you're just like, oh, well, I guess we gotta, like when we finished our build out, we literally looked at each other and we were like, all right, I guess we gotta open up the store now. And
Yeah.
like figured out that part, and it's always a constant just like figuring it out and just moving forward and not stopping and worrying about, all the other things that are going on in your life. I mean, it's definitely a lot being a mom and then also working. Like in the beginning, I was working a lot more as a freelancer, but it's a lot just being a mom and trying to keep the shop afloat.
Yeah, and not getting tripped up on like Katie said something about like, oh, like, we could have been worried in the beginning about how are we going to operate this coffee shop, right? it was like, we can't think about that because right now we're focusing on the build out and our plumbing and figuring out what's at hand right now is where this grease trap and what's going to go into it and how many pounds it can go into it right now. That's the only thing we got to focus on. And all of that other stuff is going to be taking a back seat until that time when then we need to worry about it. And like, you know, Katie, it was so true. Like, so we pushed you got to compartmentalize, you know, and be like, that's not priority right now. This is priority, what's right in front of us. And then once we finished the build that, we looked at each other and it was like, all right, now that's priority now, you know, and really, you know, it's also, it's not just how we're operating, but how are we going to train our teams? How are we going to systemize everything? How are we going to take our inventory? And like those things it can feel like a mountain, but really in the end, it's having just that laser focused on this is the task at hand. I need to learn how to operate this myself. That's the task at hand. And then the task at hand after that is now how am I going to create systems so that I'm not the only one that can do this. Also kind of something that Katie said was, you know, like taking the time for yourself. Like I work out almost every day. I go to the gym. I still go to the gym. I don't go to be, you know, like getting gains, you know, like I'm not there for an hour pumping the iron. However, I go because I need that release for myself and other people. Everyone has to deal with it in their own way. But as long as everybody has that release for themselves in whatever way they choose, even if it's, again, that 5 minutes per day, because that's what helps me think and helps me feel my best. And when you put time and energy into feeling good with yourself, you will be able to make everything good. Like you will be able to not make everything, but you'll be able to really create the waves. But as long as your mind is right, and again, maybe it's spending time with your children, maybe it's going to get dinner, not cooking, like whatever that is, that you're like, all's right with the world, great, let's go, let's do this, let's do that. That's what, you know, you need to be doing. Even right now, for an example, and not to be talking off the chain, but I have a cold. I have a really not great cold for the last 2 days, but it's not going to keep me down. I'm not going to be like, poor me, I can't work, this is terrible. I'm still there like, what do we got to do? What do we got to do? Wash my hands, doing this, doing that. You know, like I'm still showing up for a podcast at 8:00 at night. And it's because, you know, I know that it's easier to, again, check things off the list than it is to be like, all right, now I'm going to coordinate another time. Now I got to show up for that. Now I have to be, you know, like let's do it right now. Let's do it right. And then you're going to move on. Same yesterday, we were guest lecturing at Mount St. Vincent. And it's, again, do we want to do that in the moment? People are going to be doing things that they don't want to do, but it's easier to just get it done, get it right. What are those long-term gains that you're going to get from having a case study? We did the students at a college nearby are doing a case study for our business on social media strategy, and they're going to help us create content.
It's so really
cool. It's really cool.
Really cool project.
That's cool.
And in the end, that's going to benefit us from the long term because we're going to have a ton of content that we could never have even thought of ourselves. That's going to be very relevant to a specific demographic that we may not be so connected
know how to reach. We don't know how to reach them.
So again,
we're old ladies.
We're old ladies. So, you know, it's just about like doing it. And even though you're not
you have to do it.
You need to be perfect in order to do it. And that's another major thing. We don't have anything perfect. We look at each other and we'll just be like, is it good enough? Sometimes it's not good enough. Sometimes we're like, this is not good enough for us to put our brand on. And sometimes it's good enough. It's fine. It looks fine. People will understand it. It has that.
It's great.
Sometimes fucking awesome.
It like most of the time it's fucking awesome. Come on.
Yeah, I must say this interview's been fucking awesome. So for anyone out there that wants to go there and get some avocado toast, acai bowl, smoothie, coffee. Where could people find you, and where could people visit and really, catch the vibe of the early bird?
Follow us at Early Bird BX, Instagram, Facebook, Early Bird BX. Also, I don't know, you want to plug the address or Katie?
It's it's 5628 Mosholu Avenue in the Bronx, North Riverdale.
Yeah, these two ladies are really out there trailblazing their dreams, creating a community vibe, giving people what they need, whether it's community, a place to hang, a place to talk, food, and just a great vibe. So I highly encourage everyone out there, make sure to go support these women out here really doing an amazing job, being tag team champions of their dreams and working together to really make things possible. I'm really proud of both you, and hearing these stories about how, you really turned lemons into coffee, and how you really made, a tough time. And and just shout out once again to Bernie for really having the vision. That was just an amazing story. So I can't wait to one day see the Bernie special at the spot. And I can't wait to stop by the BX and visit both of you. And I feel really connected to the story, and both your visions, and it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So for everyone out there, make sure to follow the Early Bird BX on social media and visit them and support these women doing amazing things in the Bronx community. And we've been dreaming for the evening, but it don't stop there. And they shared some amazing gems with you. Make sure to, I would say, drop the bomb on a lot of what they said, bring it back like Flex would, and just write down these things, because they shared some really powerful gems with you that you could apply, whether you want to start a family, you have a family, or you have a dream, and mixing it all up. They're living proof that you can make it a reality. So everyone tuned in, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast, Type 88 Show, and you could also find the video version on Dave Noodles on YouTube. So, ladies, thank you again for being part of the show. You always have my support, and you're always welcome back.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
The delay.